Welcome to Reds Focus LFC fans. Today
Big Liverpool updates you can't miss. Transfer agreement reached. Arne Slot sends a message to Marc Guehi. AFCON drama for Mo Salah. And we rank Liverpool's best matches of 2025. Smash subscribe and turn on notifications for daily Liverpool news. Liverpool transfer agreement reached as Arne Slot sent Marc Guehi message. Our Liverpool writers hand out some end-of-year awards after a year to remember for the Reds and share their hopes for 2026. While the current season has, admittedly, so far not lived up to expectations for Liverpool Football Club, 2025 will still be a year the Reds will never forget after Arne Slot led the club to their 20th league title. Winning the Premier League at a canter, supporters had waited 35 years for the opportunity to witness and celebrate their beloved club being crowned champions of England once more. As the calendar year comes to an end, Blood Red, the new monthly LFC standalone brought to you by the Liverpool Echo, asked our expert writers to pick out some of their highlights. But with one eye also on 2026 and Liverpool slowly showing signs of recovery on the pitch, they also offered their take on what they hope to see happen in the new year. Ian Doyle, Player of the Year, Dominic Szoboszlai. A difficult one as there's been such a discrepancy between the first half of the year and the second half, but there's little doubt Dominic Szoboszlai has been the standout performer this term and did more than enough in the second half of last season to claim the accolade. Match of the Year, Liverpool 5-1 Tottenham Hotspur. A much easier one. The 5-1 win over Tottenham Hotspur that clinched the title back in April was a good enough performance in itself, but the entire day, from the build-up to the game, the team bus arriving, the match itself, and the subsequent celebrations both inside the stadium and later in the city center, made it perhaps the greatest day in Liverpool's modern history. Whether at Anfield or Liverpool itself, you simply had to be there. Goal of the Year, Diogo Jota versus Everton. There are many contenders for this, not least Dominic Szoboszlai's effort against Arsenal and Alexis Mac Allister's strikes against Fulham and Tottenham. But the goal that perhaps now means the most is Diogo Jota's strike against Everton in April. It helped edge Liverpool nearer the title, won another Merseyside derby, and, sadly, stands as the final goal of Jota's career. He is very much missed. One player LFC should sign in January, Marc Guehi. The injury to Alexander Isak might suggest the Reds should bring in a striker, but for me, it simply has to be a center-back to ease the burden on Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahima Konate. And if Marc Guehi was about to arrive in September, he can do so again. Player to watch in 2026, Connor Bradley. Connor Bradley continues to have a very stop-start Liverpool career, but if he can steer clear of injuries over the next few months, he can become a major player for the Reds. Prediction for the second half of the season. What happens in the Champions League is likely to depend on the draw and whether the Reds avoid the playoffs. They're due a bit of good fortune, and it should be that they reach the latter stages. Certainly, the team seems better equipped for that. In the Premier League, surely Liverpool will improve, and that means a top 4 finish. Aston Villa should be the target, as I don't think Arsenal and Manchester City will be caught. And the FA Cup? Well, the lack of availability of players in the early rounds means I'm not expecting very much. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they lost at home to Barnsley in the third round. Paul Gorst, Player of the Year, Dominic Szoboszlai. It's tough to pick someone who has remained consistent across both halves of the calendar year, but Dominic Szoboszlai certainly has dropped below in the last few months, so for that reason, I get my pick. He was a driving force for the Reds at times last season as they secured the title with 4 games to spare, and while several have underperformed in the defense on that crown, the Hungary captain is not one of them. Match of the Year, Liverpool 5-1 Tottenham Hotspur. The 5-1 hammering of Tottenham Hotspur was a joyous prelude to one of Anfield's greatest afternoons as the Reds were crowned champions of England for a 20th time. What a day that was. Goal of the Year, Rion Gumoha versus Newcastle. Rion Gumoha's strike to become the youngest scorer of all time at Liverpool just days before his 17th birthday to win it 3-2 in the 100th minute will take some beating. The way the teenager wrapped his foot around it to slot him in the dying embers was taken like a veteran. One player LFC should sign in January, Antoine Semenyo. Antoine Semenyo would be a great addition to the forward ranks, and with Alexander Isak set for a spell on the sidelines, the versatile Bournemouth frontman would offer great strength in depth and an ability to play across a handful of positions. Player to watch in 2026, Florian Wirtz. Florian Wirtz is starting to find his feet at Anfield. He will continue to grow and develop in the Premier League, and he will end the campaign as one of the most accomplished and consistent performers for the Reds. He has world-class ability, and he will show it more and more as the campaign goes on. Prediction for the second half of the season. Liverpool will finish third behind Arsenal and Manchester City, which will battle it out for the title. I think the Reds have a decent chance of winning the Champions League, but the FA Cup will fall by the wayside. Changes will be made in one of the early rounds, and it will prove to be their undoing. Theo Squires. Player of the Year. Mohamed Salah. Okay, I know Mohamed Salah's season so far has not lived up to expectations, culminating with his little spat with Arne Slot after being benched. But is that really enough to overlook what he achieved last year? He was Liverpool's standout player by a country mile as they won the Premier League, producing astonishing numbers in an incredible campaign. Yes, he was at his best in the first half of the season, as were the Reds, but he still produced 20 goal contributions during the second half of the campaign before cleaning up all the individual end-of-season awards. Dominic Szoboszlai has arguably been Liverpool's most consistent performer across the entire calendar year and has been their best player so far this season, but firing the Reds to a Premier League title still gives Salah the edge in my book. Match of the Year. Liverpool 5-1 Tottenham Hotspur. An easy choice, especially with so little to choose from this season, the 5-1 victory over Tottenham that clinched the Premier League title. A day supporters had waited 35 years to witness, and boy did it live up to expectations. Goal of the Year. Alexis Mac Allister versus Tottenham. I'm probably getting caught up in a wave of title romance here when reflecting on 2025, but Mac Allister's rocket against Tottenham was good, wasn't it? Anfield erupted after he fired Liverpool ahead, finding the top corner with a thunderbolt from the edge of the box. Having fallen behind early on to a Dominic Solanke header, it was very much a moment supporters needed to settle any nerves and kick off the title celebrations once and for all. One player LFC should sign in January, Marc Guehi. Liverpool need a forward heading into the new year after seeing Alexander Isak suffer a fractured leg. They needed a versatile option before the Swede was injured, with their limited numbers even more apparent now. But they need a center-back more. Their defensive woes this season have been well documented, while they remain somewhat limited on numbers after Giovanni Leone's season-ending ACL injury. Marc Guehi currently looks set to see out the season at Crystal Palace before departing on a free transfer, but having agreed to join Liverpool in September, surely it's worth another go. Player to watch in 2026, Ugo Ekitike. This is perhaps a rather obvious shout than it would have been at the start of December, but Ekitike has emerged as one of Liverpool's stars of the season, and there is no reason to believe he can't keep it up in the new year. He started incredibly well for the Reds, only for his form to dip alongside Liverpool's as they embarked on that horrendous losing run. But he's been in incredible form in December, following up breaks against Leeds and Brighton with the winner at Tottenham Hotspur. With 11 goals to his name heading into the festive period, he will certainly play a decisive role if Liverpool's recovery continues during the second half of the campaign. Prediction for the second half of the season. The title race looks beyond Liverpool, though the Reds could provide a January rethink depending on what the gap to Arsenal is following their trip to the Emirates on January 8th. Realistically, though, the reigning champions will have to settle for Champions League qualification. They will have enough for top 4 or 5 and should surely improve from the first half of the season as their new signings continue to gel. Arne Slot's men are not perfect yet, as their win against 9-man Tottenham proved, so a good run in this year's Champions League will come down to the mercy of the draw. We've been waiting for the new-look Reds to click into gear once and for all. If it happens, maybe Budapest beckons. We can but hope. Mark Jones. Player of the Year, Dominic Szoboszlai. It's difficult to marry together what was a coast to the league title in the second half of last season with the ups and the more frequent downs of this one, but Dominic Szoboszlai has been a strong constant throughout the season. The 2-0 wins over Manchester City and Newcastle in February, which effectively secured the title, were both marked by Szoboszlai goals, and this season he has been the player to deliver constantly when others around him have struggled. Some of Szoboszlai's teammates might be more closely associated with the standout moments of 2025, but few if any of them are ending the calendar year as well as the Hungarian. Match of the Year. Liverpool 5-1 Tottenham Hotspur. An easy one, but the 5-1 win over Tottenham that clinched the Premier League title led to scenes not witnessed at Anfield for 35 years and simply had to be the standout occasion of the year. And the scenes around the ground that day will stay with those of us who were there for a long time. Goal of the year: Diogo Jota versus Everton. Great strikes, brilliant team goals, and important moments en route to the title all come to mind, but the 2025 goal I will always remember above all others will be Diogo Jota's winner against Everton in April. The quick feet, the sharp mind, and the deadly finish. It was everything we had come to expect from Jota, who will always be so fondly remembered and so sadly missed. One player LFC should sign in January: Marc Guehi. There are attackers out there that would improve the current squad, but I'm all for finishing the job that was almost completed in the summer and signing Marc Guehi. The next 2 summers look to be pivotal years in the center-back department, so getting a good one in quickly has to be the priority. Player to watch in 2026, Connor Brown.
Virgil van Dijk confirms Liverpool players' opinion on hearing Diogo Jota's chant at every game. Virgil van Dijk has been speaking ahead of Liverpool taking on Wolves in the Premier League, with 2 of Diogo Jota's former clubs set to face off at Anfield this weekend. Liverpool captain Virgil van Dijk says it is a sign of respect to Diogo Jota that the Reds' number 20 is remembered during matches, with no reason for fans to stop the tradition. Since Jota and his brother, Andre Silva, tragically died in the summer, Liverpool fans have sung his song during the 20th minutes of fixtures. This weekend will be the first fixture between the Reds and Wolves since Jota, a former player for both, was killed in a car crash in northern Spain. Obviously, the fans sing Diogo's song on 20 minutes during games, Van Dijk told The Times. We've discussed that, and we're at a stage now where it doesn't affect us. It's obviously a sign of respect from our fans, so it's up to the fans what will happen, but just to let anyone know that it doesn't affect us. I remember the friendly game against Preston where it was really tough, but that was only 2 weeks after the accident. The minute silence in the home game against Bournemouth was very difficult. But I think we're at the stage now where we want to use it as strength. Diogo would want us to succeed. He would want us to do well. And that's the main thing. I think the fans sing only out of the respect they have for Diogo, because he deserves it. With Liverpool struggling for form in the early parts of the season, there has been some discussion that the players might be negatively impacted when they are reminded of Jota's loss. But Van Dijk has put an end to those suggestions with his comments. It is a fact that you will be reminded about what happened each and every day because he's part of us, he's part of the club, he's part of our brotherhood. Personally, my role was to observe a lot, see how everyone copes and deals with it, to hear things, speak to players, speak to certain staff members. We had a meeting with the team. Instead of anyone wants to speak up about their emotions, how they feel, we are here and will always be here. There are moments when it is tough because, like I said, you will remember Diogo whether you are prepared or not, whether you can cope with it at that time or not. It's about how you then react, and the boys have been outstanding. The senior boys have discussed it, and we want to obviously honor his legacy, not only for the next year, 2 years, 3 years. He needs to be remembered forever, and that's something we're going to discuss with the club, how we're going to be able to do that. We have his locker here at the training ground. We have his locker at the stadium. The memorial at the stadium is coming. But I think we can do a lot more in terms of remembering him, and that's something me and the senior boys will be looking after, and I feel that responsibility in order to make that happen too. Liverpool retired Jota's number 20 jersey in the summer. His family will be in attendance on Saturday as the Reds take on Wolves.
Ranked Liverpool's best matches of 2025. Bournemouth 0, Liverpool 2. On paper, this was perhaps Liverpool's trickiest fixture on the Premier League title run-in, and it's true that Arne Slot's side had to ride their luck at times, with Alisson Becker in particular coming through when it mattered. This showed, however, that with Mo Salah in the team, anything was possible. A well-taken penalty and a stunning second goal gave Liverpool the platform they needed to move 9 points clear at the top of the table. Taking on a Bournemouth side who had beaten both Arsenal and Manchester City in their own backyard and winning proved that this Liverpool side had all the necessary title-winning mettle. Liverpool 4,
Tottenham 0. Arne Slot's side had been criticized for the manner of defeat in the EFL Cup semi-final first leg against Tottenham. They returned to Anfield with a point to prove against an injury-hit Spurs and produced perhaps their most dominant display of the campaign. Goals from Cody Gakpo, Mo Salah, Dominik Szoboszlai, and Virgil van Dijk helped Liverpool overturn the 1-0 first-leg deficit, propelling the Anfield club into the final, where they'd face Newcastle. Unfortunately for Arne Slot, his side couldn't get the job done at Wembley, but this victory was nonetheless Liverpool at their swashbuckling best. Man City 0, Liverpool 2. "We're gonna win the league," the Liverpool fans inside the Etihad chanted as their Manchester City counterparts streamed towards the exits. The Reds dominated Pep Guardiola's side, winning 2-0 courtesy of goals from Dominik Szoboszlai and Mo Salah. The win put Liverpool's men 11 points clear and emphasized just how far ahead of City they'd streaked en route to the title. Perhaps Liverpool's most confident and assured performance of the season, they looked every inch champions in waiting that day, completing a league double over City for the first time since 2015-16. PSG 0, Liverpool 1. The bad news is that Liverpool were edged out over 2 legs against Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League round of 16, having topped the initial group stage. But Liverpool came closer than anyone to stopping Luis Enrique's march to the European Cup in a season when PSG ultimately completed the treble. They owed much of their hope in the tie to an away day victory at the Parc des Princes, which came courtesy of a classic Harvey Elliott strike. No doubt the Reds rode their luck at times in the French capital, with Alisson once again proving why he was the best in the world. But they were clinical where PSG were not, bringing the French elite to Anfield in the second leg and hoping to get the job done. Ultimately, the Reds were edged out on penalty picks, having competed well. And no one will forget in a hurry just how close Elliott's goal put them to Champions League progression. Liverpool 5, Tottenham 1. Liverpool's most memorable game of 2025, bar none, as the Reds picked up their Premier League trophy in front of their own fans. Jurgen Klopp's team won the title back in 2020, with Jordan Henderson conducting the trophy lift inside an empty stadium. While we will always be grateful for breaking that 3-decade title slump, it just didn't feel right without any fans there to celebrate. That probably rang true for the players too, who certainly made the most of their title-winning party against Spurs. This moved Arne Slot's team into an unassailable lead, a 5-1 victory, which had the fans celebrating long before the final whistle. Liverpool won their 20th Premier League title on their home patch and in front of their own people. It was just as it was always meant to be. And for those inside the ground, at long last, it was unforgettable. Newcastle 2, Liverpool 3. This was perhaps the most thrilling and breathless encounter Liverpool were involved in all year long. Having led 10-man Newcastle by 2-0, the Reds somehow contrived to throw their lead away. The Magpies battled back to 2-2 in the raucous atmosphere of St. James's Park, a setting made all the more lively by Liverpool's transfer pursuit of the Geordies' most valuable player in Alexander Isak. Not to be outdone, the Merseysiders struck late to claim the win, with the identity of the winning goal scorer becoming another story in itself. Rio Ngumaha, 16, became Liverpool's youngest ever goal scorer with his 100th minute winner and the 4th youngest in Premier League history. This game had it all: goals, drama, Anthony Gordon's red card, and a very tasty backdrop. It'll take a while to calm down after this one. Liverpool 3, Atletico Madrid 2. Liverpool were 2-0 up inside 6 minutes thanks to goals from Robertson and Salah. Surely this would be a routine home win. Think again. Arne Slot's side put fans through the ringer at Anfield, having once again managed to let a 2-goal lead slip. Atletico Madrid got back even through goals from Llorente, forever a Liverpool nemesis. And again, the Reds left it late to find the winner, with Virgil van Dijk breaking Diego Simeone's heart in injury time. The Atletico Madrid coach lost his head in the aftermath, beefing with Liverpool supporters and getting himself sent off. Liverpool have quite often saved their best or most memorable performances for the Champions League this season, as the Premier League hasn't been plain sailing. Here was another unforgettable example.
Mo Salah struck in face as Egypt seal AFCON progress after VAR controversy. Liverpool star Mo Salah scored against South Africa as Egypt's win sent them into the last 16 at AFCON, but they had some help from a controversial VAR decision. Mohamed Salah scored in controversial circumstances as Egypt won 0-1 against South Africa at the Africa Cup of Nations, securing their place in the last 16. The Pharaohs topped Group B after claiming 6 points from 2 matches and have confirmed their progress to the knockout stages following Zimbabwe and Angola's draw earlier in the day. The Liverpool star won and converted a first-half penalty to hand his side an advantage in their second match of the tournament in Morocco. Salah was struck in the face by Koulisso Moudou and hit the floor in the opposition area. While the Egyptian clutched his face, referee Pacifique Nabi Hawinaman did not blow his whistle. The incident was reviewed by VAR, however, and a lengthy deliberation followed. Some observers were shocked at the level of consideration taking place over the decision due to what looked to some to be light and accidental contact. After being sent to review the footage, though, Nabi Hawinaman pointed to the spot and soon began issuing yellow cards. South Africa pair Moudou and Lyle Foster both picked up cautions, with the latter furiously protesting what he considered a soft decision. Salah did not waste his opportunity, coolly dispatching his penalty with a light chip into the center of the goal. Egypt handed their opponents a route back into the match when fullback Mohamed Hani received a second yellow card moments later. The defender was given his marching orders for an unnecessary foul on the halfway line on the verge of halftime. The drama did not end there, as South Africa were denied a penalty in the dying moments of the game. They were awarded a free kick on the edge of the area after a diving Yasser Ibrahim blocked a shot from Teboho Mokoena with his arm. After a VAR review, no penalty was awarded, despite Ibrahim clearly appearing in the area. The addition of ABR was not enough to force the referee to overturn his original decision. The arm appeared to be breaking his fall. Nevertheless, Ibrahim put his head to the floor in prayer and was clearly very relieved. Egypt will next face Angola in their final group game, aiming to cement their place at the top of the group. Salah's time away from Liverpool will now be extended. Last 16 matches take place between January 3rd and January 6th. That means the 33-year-old will definitely miss matches against Wolves, Leeds, and Fulham.
Jurgen Klopp showed his true colors with message ahead of Liverpool's Christmas party. Jurgen Klopp became a legend at Liverpool with his festive message speaking volumes to what the German was really like. Ex-Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp once gave his team permission to let their hair down at their Christmas bash, even though they were struggling on the pitch. Rewind to December 2015, just over 2 months after Klopp had taken over from Brendan Rodgers, who was sacked as manager in early October of that year. From day one, the legendary German emphasized that togetherness and team morale were vital for the club's future prosperity, after the Reds had started to lose their way under the previous regime. Though there was a slight improvement in performances following Klopp's arrival, Liverpool were still very much a developing side. With only a solitary victory in December, their festive celebrations came on the heels of a demoralizing 3-0 thrashing at Watford, and many anticipated the Christmas do would be cancelled. Klopp, though, had other ideas. Rather than scrapping the event, every player received a message from their boss which said, "Whatever we do together, we do as well as we can, and tonight, that means we party." The squad were also instructed they had to remain until at least 1 a.m. In April 2017, Klopp discussed the significance of proceeding with the party, maintaining that both he and his players learned a valuable lesson about solidarity from the occasion. "We had a good Christmas party afterwards, that's what I remember," Klopp said. "I can't remember what I felt after that game." The 2015 campaign was a pivotal season for Klopp in fostering a sense of unity that would eventually permeate the entire club and city. A challenging festive period saw Liverpool suffer a defeat to Newcastle United and a draw with West Brom, leading up to a loss at Vicarage Road. The 2-2 stalemate with the Baggies became one of the defining moments of Klopp's tenure as Liverpool manager. It served as another testament to his commitment to repairing the bond between himself, his players, and the fans after years of disunity. A last-minute goal from Liverpool's cult hero Divock Origi led to Klopp joining hands with his players to celebrate in front of the Kop. The celebrations were mocked by many rival fans, given Liverpool hadn't actually won the match. Yet, much like his Christmas party text message, it was another stride in the right direction. Speaking in the documentary, Doubters to Believers, Liverpool FC, Klopp's Era, he said, "I saw it, people were still there, and we said thank you. And it was not on purpose in the sense of, come on, we have to do this and that to bring the people. It was just the honest thing to do, what we felt. Thank you for supporting us until the last whistle." The Klopp effect was beginning to work its magic. Even former Red Adam Lallana admitted it was a watershed moment. It was extremely different for us. We'd never done an ole in front of the fans before. Slightly embarrassed, I think, doing that. But the fans, seeing his emotion and his passion on the sideline, they connected, and it soon changed the atmosphere at Anfield. In the end, Klopp cultivated an intense sense of togetherness at the Reds that hadn't been witnessed since the days of legendary manager Bill Shankly. Yet the German's transformation didn't happen in an instant. It was built gradually, as his festive text message illustrated. Step by step, Klopp reconstructed a club that had struggled both on and off the field in previous years. Within a decade, Liverpool had gone from facing the very real threat of administration and languishing in 19th place to Klopp guiding them to their 6th European Cup and securing the Premier League trophy for the first time in 3 decades.